Hello,
Hi Z, how are you?
I'm feeling great.
Good. How's school?
Today is Teacher's Day.
Oh, okay. All right. What did you do for that for today?
Well, some of us brought gifts to our teachers, such as bouquet of flowers, and there is also a cake, I think, which is shared by teachers and students.
Oh,
Some
okay.
and school is as a result, school is let out earlier than usual. Usually on Friday, at least this term, it's at 5:30 p.m. But today it's only about around 4 p.m.
Oh, okay. Okay. How are your classes going?
Pretty great.
Okay.
Uh,
Any Mhm.
well, there's one change. It's mandatory to sleep now in the lunch.
Oh, so everybody has to actually take a nap now.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's good.
So
I like that.
some of us brought pillows from home and even brought a mattress to lay down on, which is allowed, since
Oh,
sleeping upright is kinda weird.
yeah. I mean, you can't just like sleep on your desk, like put your head
Yes,
down like on your
but it's
okay.
uncomfortable, so that's why pillows are brought.
Yeah, I'm saying if you had just a pillow, I mean that's how we would sleep on our desk if we had to, for a little bit of time. Not so much a mattress, but to just bring a pillow and you can lay your head down on that. It's not too bad because it's not very long, right? It's like 30 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a good idea. Are the kids getting more acclimated to that? Are they starting to want to do that now?
I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but definitely is a period of rest after at least a morning of hard work and learning,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which is kind of nice.
And do they turn the lights out?
Yes, of course.
Uh-huh.
Today
Okay.
is especially dark because outside it is probably raining,
Oh,
so
I mean,
it's
okay.
almost pitch black in the classroom.
Yeah. Okay.
While
And
on other days, there's sometimes a ray of sunlight that pierces through
uh-huh.
the curtains. Curtains.
I wonder, do they if they and they probably don't, but I wonder if they would be open to it. Do they play any kind of music? Any kind
No.
of no? That would be kind of nice and soothing if they played some type of classical music or something like that, so people could just really relax and just probably invite sleeping a little bit more easily. I don't know. Suggest it. See what happens.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you just have something on, someone's phone or something, and it's just you can find anything, any kind of classical type music, and or no words, no heavy instruments, but just light music. I think it would be really, especially if the lights are out. I think that would promote people, going to sleep easily. Really relaxing. See what happens. I mean, if you like that, I really enjoy classical music, especially if I'm trying to just like relax and not, I don't want to think about anything. I just want to enjoy the music. It would be easy to fall asleep to that, in my opinion. Anyway, okay. Did you watch your? Did you watch the Cowboys and Bucks play? Didn't they have the opening game on Thursday?
Yes, it's today, but I don't have any time to watch it because it's in the morning where I have school.
Okay.
And I checked the score. It's 31 to 22, 2029, which the Buccaneers won.
Um. Oh, okay. Well, close game.
Yes, especially I think in the last 2 minutes where the Cowboys got a field goal, which put them 1 point ahead. Then Tom Brady, I think, led a drive that
Uh-huh.
ended in the field goal as well. So they took the lead once more.
Oh, okay. So you'll be able to watch highlights.
And the statistics, like play by play. on ESPN.
Mm. Okay, okay. Well, I'm sure you'll enjoy that. All right. Anything? What else? Anything else going on at school? Anything coming up?
Well,
Oh, how? Oh, go ahead.
last Saturday I got the vaccine.
That's what I was going to ask you. How did that
Yes.
go?
Well, all of us students and parents gathered together in the cafeteria to wait being called upon. So,
Okay.
so some of us brought board games and some of us brought phones to play with to make this session less boring. And when we were called up, we were led, I think, to the third floor and to a special classroom where we queued up. And one by one, we went to classroom, and there are like a few tables in which the medical staff from hospitals sit. And there's just little bottles, I think, of the vaccine.
Hmm.
And they put a little alcohol, I think that's what it's called, on your skin, and
Huh?
they use like the isn't that alcohol?
Yeah, it's alcohol usually.
Yeah, on your
Oh,
skin
alcohol.
and use and then with the injector, just suck up the vaccine in the small bottle and just inject it in your skin without anything else,
Yeah.
just
And,
straight up.
and how
And
and how did you feel after?
it was a long needle, but they didn't go all the way in, so
Sure.
it hurt a little, but not too much. And
Mhm.
you know, and we had to hold at least like a piece of cotton to the small wound for like about a few minutes in case of bleeding. And we're led to the auditorium or something like that to wait for 30 minutes in case of some health issues resulted from the vaccine. Just with some more waiting, so we played some more board games,
Mhm.
and and eventually we all got home.
Okay. Okay. And how did you feel like the next day or the day after? Any problem?
Not too many, not actually quite good. No side effects at least.
Okay.
Couldn't shower like regularly in the first day because the water might make infect the wound or something.
Mm.
And we are not allowed to eat certain kinds of foods like spices that will
Uh,
mess up
mhm.
the vaccine. Something.
Okay.
I
What
think
and what did you have? What was the brand of your vaccine? Was that Sinovac?
I think so.
Uh-huh. And
I
then
think most of the middle school and high school students got vaccinated on that day. At
mhm.
least at least two or three.
Mhm. Okay.
And the age limit with the vaccine is about 12 to 18, which is the middle school and high school students.
Yeah, that's same here. That's what I heard everywhere. Except I read this morning that they're going to start doing vaccinations in Afghanistan as
Afghan,
early as 2 years old.
the Taliban.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I saw that, and it said that they're looking at doing the vaccine as early as two, and like soon. And of course, Biden, I think, made a speech or something yesterday about having. I don't know if he's going to make it mandatory for all federal employees, that's for sure, but also for other large companies in the U.S. and where they have to, where everyone has to get the vaccination. So I don't know how all that's going to play. I still think there's going to be in the United States, of course. I think there's still going to be a lot of resistance to that. So I mean, because some people are saying that that you can't do that because that's I guess a violation of our freedoms, and there's going to probably be a lot of lawsuits if that happens. So who knows? In the U.S., I have no idea. I read that this morning on CNN, but I don't know. But and as far as the and then the young children, 2 years old, that seems pretty risky too. But not in the U.S., but in I think it was Afghanistan. Yeah. But you're and then you now you have to get another one, right? Like in 3 weeks or something.
There hasn't been any announcements yet, so I'm
Oh,
not sure.
okay. Because I think normally, I think for most people, other than the Johnson and Johnson one, that was the only one with one
One
vaccine.
shot.
Yeah. But the other, I think all the other ones are supposed to have two, and they're supposed to be like 3 to 4 weeks apart, something like that. So, yeah, I don't, yeah, you'll probably get some notice at some point for that. But the main thing is you feel okay though. Yeah? No, you didn't have a fever or anything after you got the injection, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have a temperature. You did not have a fever, correct?
I didn't have anything actually. They just
Okay.
give us the vaccine and we left.
Okay. And what about
We
the
do
other
have to
two?
fill out. We did have to fill out some forms beforehand,
Oh, okay. Like a release of liability or something?
like that, like a few days ago, before
Yeah.
a few days before the vaccination.
Mm. Okay. All right. Um, what else? Anything else going on for you in school?
At the end of the month, there will be a sports meeting or sports competition here in our school.
In what? What kind of sport?
Like running, jumping, um, no team sports because that's will be too messy. Uh, those individual ones, and
just
uh, four 4x100 relay race, which is kind of a team sport, but it's easy to organize.
okay. Are you going to participate in that?
I participated in last one, which is in I think 2019, because the one in 2020 was canceled,
Yeah.
and
So
I
you.
actually
Mhm.
contributed very much. In I think
I'm sorry. Wait.
uh,
What's that?
I think in 2018, in sixth grade, I
Mhm.
actually I participated in the 4x100 relay race.
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
was actually the key factor in our team's win because I was the third bat, I think, and I surpassed all the other people.
Mm. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So you're going to participate in this one. Yes?
Yes, but
Okay. Mhm.
my running speed has been gradually decreasing throughout the years because I haven't got as much exercise as before.
Oh, okay.
But I'm still
So,
quite fast in my class.
okay.
So
Will
100
you
meters is like 15 seconds for me,
for you? Okay.
and 50 meters is like 7.5 or 6.
Are you able to practice or are you able to train or anything there? Like,
We
you have
we
time?
speaking of running, we every day now, every weekday from Tuesday to Friday after the first period, if it doesn't rain, we will run laps around the playground.
Okay.
Girls do 2 laps and boys do 3 laps. So
Okay.
that's 1,200 meters for us boys. So that could count as training.
Mm.
However, it's not the short distance one, which you need to run full speed all the way. In
Mm.
the long runs, you need to conserve your energy, or you'll be too tired and exhausted.
Okay.
So it's kind
I
of
mean,
different, but still training for running.
yeah. Hey, how was the remember you were telling me last I think it was last week or so when they made some changes, at the school as far as your homework and stuff like that, less homework. How is that going? Or how has that gone this past week? Is it
Well,
good?
the
Do you
homework
see a
has
difference?
been The homework amount is quite light compared to other times.
Okay. Okay. And are you able to, I know you were going to spend more time at school. Are you able to get most of your homework done at school before you come home?
Of course,
Oh, okay.
except on Fridays.
Okay. Okay. Because they probably give you a little bit more because it's the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But during the week, so you're able to get most of your work done at school. So by the time you get home, you pretty much have that time to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you notice it within yourself? Do you notice a big difference already? I mean, do you feel less stressed?
Mm, uh, not a very big difference.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Hey, what do you
Well,
think of? Go ahead.
back to the topic of the sports competition. In
Mhm.
our school, sports competition usually takes about 1 to 2 days, and there is no classes during that day, which is fun. And we are allowed to bring snacks like potato
Mhm.
chips from
Mhm.
home.
Okay.
And when we don't have a race to compete, we can often play games on the side of the playground. There is seats like bleachers, I think they're what they are called,
Bleachers.
bleachers under the trees,
Uh-huh.
and we can sit on them and play all sorts of games.
Okay. Okay. It must be a big event for to not have classes for a couple days.
I think it's two.
Yeah, so I'm just saying though, 2 days of no school, no lessons, and just competing in sports, it must be quite a big event, quite a big deal.
Yeah, it really
There
is.
must- so there's a lot. I mean, is there like more than is it repeated races and things like that? I mean, if it seems more like running and whatnot, I mean, is it just a bunch of them all day long, or you
A
know?
bunch of them at the same time,
Yeah.
maybe.
Uh-huh.
Running races are the most prominent because they're the most easily to see and the most competitive.
And are the students, are they allowed to, are they able to watch the runners the whole time? I
Of
mean,
course, the
everybody.
bleachers are on the side of the playground, so that they're in full view of the competition.
Okay. So
Unless
everybody,
they're kind of far away when you see it at a different position.
sure. And is the are the races, are they co-ed or are they broken out by gender?
By gender
Ah,
and by grade.
and by grade. Okay. Okay. So if is let's say ninth graders, and we're talking, so you're talking all of middle school,
Yes, six to
right?
nine.
6 to 9. So each grade has their own, and they're all broken out by gender. Now, does the ninth grade watch the sixth grade, and does
Of
the ninth
course,
grade watch seventh?
they're
Yeah.
going on at the same time at the
Uh,
same place, basically.
okay.
So that's why we need like 1 to 2 days for them to all
I
to get
guess
in.
okay. There you go. All right. Well, that sounds exciting, though.
We sadly we don't have as much time to prepare for it since we're ninth grade, not like sixth grade where which we have plenty of time. I remember in sixth grade we even went to school on a Saturday to prepare for it. At least some of us who were competing in the race
Mhm.
practice running.
But can't you, like on your own time, like because I know you live close to your school, correct?
Of course,
Can't you go there on the weekends, like on Saturday or Sunday, and just practice yourself and just run? I mean, and just train there since you have the track out there. Couldn't you just do that at anytime you wanted?
yep. But most of us are busy with schoolwork.
So you just don't have. Well, if you don't, you have to put the time in to train whatever sport it's in, and if you're not able to do that, then I mean, then you don't. I mean, so I don't, it'd be hard to get better if you can't practice. So, um, but that sounds like a lot of fun. And then will they have some type of like award ceremony after the fact?
Yep.
Okay.
And there is, I think, cups. At least there are at least medals. I'm
Mhm.
not sure about cups.
Okay. That's good. And is that just something for the students, or are students able to invite their parents?
Parents can be volunteers to help out with the organization.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And that you said, and that whole race, everything is next week or at the end of the month.
Yes, I
End of the
believe
month.
so.
Okay. So
And
you've got,
after that is a 1 week holiday for National Day, which is October 1st to October 7th.
and what is that one?
The National Day holiday, where when our country was founded in 1949.
Okay. So you guys are going to be off for that week, right?
Yes.
Okay. So are you off a week already right after school starts? That's good.
However, we have to make up at least 1 or 2 days of school in the week before and the week after. So we will be having school on the weekend.
Okay. Oh well, at least you get that week off. That's good. And yeah, well, it sounds like everything's going really good for you at school. You're liking it. You're liking your classes, and you've got that a little bit less of a with your homework. You have a little bit more time. It seems like maybe to yourself, which is good. Okay. Um, hey, are you gonna? Are you? Is there? I don't know if your school talks about it, but tomorrow being 9/11, any anybody at your school, they talk about that? Or do they, is that some kind of remembrance or anything like that, or not really?
No, because I don't know. I don't even know if most of us remember that or even care too much about it since it
Yeah, because it's
happened
20 years
in the
ago
US and 20 years ago before we were born.
before. Yeah, but I mean, you probably, I mean, you've heard about it. I'm sure you've
Yes, I watched documentaries about it a few years ago.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I kind of forget that you guys you weren't even born yet. I just remember where I was when that happened. So it was just, I'll share that. I was at an accounting firm where I was working in Virginia, and it was morning time, for us. I mean, we were at work, and we're on the same East Coast time as New York. And we were all just starting our day for the most part, in in our offices and la da da. And then we had a TV in our big break room or conference room, and we had it on, and somebody, um, we all heard that a plane crashed into one of the towers, and so everybody comes running in to the break room or the conference room to see what we're watching it. We see, the newscaster talking about it. You can see, the photos and the film and everything of the first plane, that was already um, into the tower. And nobody knew at that time if it was just everyone was thinking it was an accident. I mean, it was just a horrific accident that happened. And and everybody's just watching it, and then all of a sudden you see this other plane, and so you hear the newscaster who goes, "Oh, there's another plane coming, and it's coming directly toward the other tower." And they caught all that on film. And then when the second one, when the plane crashed into the second tower, everybody knew at that point this was not an accident. It was an act of terror. And so you could see, it was horrible, and because it was all live. I mean, we actually saw it. We didn't see the first one, but everyone saw the second. And it was just, and I think anyone, like especially at my age and in that time period, everybody usually remembers, where they were or what they were doing during that time. It's almost like one of the when like with the assassinations of certain presidents and stuff. Everybody like with the last one,
Yeah,
like
okay.
with like JFK. Yeah, I wasn't born yet, but my mother, told me, and she was said, "Oh, we were all, the whole country was like in mourning that, that day, and or even for many years after that." But yeah, but everyone, when those type of events happen, usually everybody, if you're alive, obviously, people always remember what they were doing, or where they were, or what was going on. So, and not to say fortunate, but on this one with 9/11, I mean, yeah, to actually, I mean, you actually saw it, and nobody was expecting it. If we were just watching a TV because we saw this, horrible accident from the first tower. And it wasn't until then. And then everything changed right when that happened. I mean, it's kind of amazing how everybody kind of comes together really quick. So immediately, even our partners and everybody at the firm said, and we're real close to a Navy base and Air Force base, because that's the big hub in Virginia with all the Navy and Air Force and stuff like that. And so they military has to get prepared right away, and so they started shutting down the entire cities, everything, all the docks and stuff for imports of ships coming in, because no one knew what was happening. And then after the towers, then you heard right away within that 20 minutes or hour, whatever it was, about the Pentagon, and then the other one. And because there were 3 crashes that day. And so, well, actually 4, but one being at the Twin Towers. So no one knew what to expect, like what is happening. And I mean, there's something, we don't know if there's something that's going to happen on the West Coast now in San Francisco, but it looked like they were aiming toward all the big hubs of financial places or government, because they were really trying to get the White House, and they ended up getting, I guess, the Pentagon instead. I mean, that all this stuff came out after. So yeah, but everything shut down. All big means of transportation, whether it was air, any kind of trains, even buses, because no one knew what was going on. But it was kind of a really chaotic time in the United States during that time. Really bad. And they were doing, live coverage, of course, in New York, because that was the worst hit. But and it was going on for months, like every day. I mean, you had live coverage of everything that was happening, and all the workers, all the rescue missions, everybody. And then so many people from outside of New York and from other states were all flocking, all rescue workers, things like that, police, fire, search and rescue, military. Everybody was coming to the aid of New York, and trying to help as much as best they could. And it seemed like it just took months to get through all that rubble of that destruction of those 2 towers. So yeah, it was a really big deal. And I think in the US, like especially tomorrow, they usually have you know a big remembrance and a memorial type of service, and they cover stuff live as well. I'm sure the president will speak tomorrow on their behalf as well on those. And I was reading another one today about that. Uh, there's still like 14 or 1,500 people that they still cannot identify. They identified 2 actually today through DNA testing. And
Wow.
so, yeah, to actually confirm, those deceased people. But there's still like something like that, like over 1,000, 1,400 people that are unaccounted for. They assume, that they died because they're just, they're no longer, existing, they're missing. And those people were all, I guess, confirmed in some way that they were in those towers on that morning, but without positive ID, it's hard, especially for the families, to move on, because they always have that little glimmer of hope that, something, that maybe that they just left, or, I don't know. It's just they need, most people need closure when people die. They want to know that that person actually died. They want to see it. They want to, pay their last respects. But not knowing, really, I think, I don't know. People are like in limbo. They just don't. They always have that little bit of hope. And maybe something else happened, and they're gonna come back someday or something. So anyway, but kind of kind of a big deal for America, that's for sure. So I just didn't, and I know it's probably different for you, just for the fact that you, like you said, you weren't even born at that time. So, but yeah, it doesn't seem, for me, it doesn't seem that long ago. you know. So, um, but anyway, um, okay. Any other questions? Anything else
Um,
that you read about
no.
it? Nothing.
Uh, it's about 9/11.
Yeah. What's that?
Is it about 9/11?
What do you mean? Nine
The
11.
questions or the questions
Yeah,
or
anything. It just about that, about any other anything with news, or anything that you've read or.
news. Guinea did have a coup recently.
Mm. You said New Guinea?
Yeah, Guinea in Africa.
Okay.
I think 5 days ago.
Okay.
So the lieutenant seized control of
Mhm.
the state and dissolved the government, captured the president, and
Mm.
start formed a new government.
Wow.
So
That's.
this happens very often in Africa,
Mhm.
especially during the like 20th century.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's not surprising. But I know, because you had followed Afghanistan and Taliban for a while here, and I think I read yesterday or today that yesterday was uh, they got the last plane out, or it was through. I'm trying to think of the airline, maybe Qatar airline. They evacuated the last, I guess, the Americans that were left, the 100 Americans or something, and they were able to land and get them out. And it was actually, they said it was organized. So uh yeah, my thought is that the US is doing something with the Taliban. That's what I think. I think we're gonna aid them, and which is totally mind-blowing for me, because Al Qaeda, that was housed under the Taliban 20 years ago, is the one that that caused the 9/11 destruction. And how we would actually ever do any kind of business or help them in any way is beyond me. So I have no idea what's going on. That's just hard to fathom for me. So anyway, but that's what I
But
had
then
written.
again, no, the US and Taliban are facing the same enemy, which is ISIS-K, which has launched several terrorist attacks in the airport.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So at
Yeah, I
least
just.
for a while, they were trying to work together to stamp out this terrorist organization.
Yeah, I don't know, just kind of, I just get kind of perplexed with all of that. I don't know. And what else with Afghanistan I read today? So I know the control of that government now is strictly, for the most part, it's all men, and there's not one woman in any kind of um, in their political office. So it's just going to be a regime dominated by men. And then I guess the women were protesting, I guess, last week, and they were brutally beaten for doing that.
I think they opened fire or something.
Was that?
I think sometimes they open the fire.
Yeah, they did. I know. I don't think they were. I don't know if they were. I don't think they were shooting at certain people. They might. Lots of times they just shoot up in the air, just to get people's attention or whatever. And that alone will make people scared and break up and do stuff like that. Um, but yeah, but I know that they were saying that they actually were like hitting them, beating them, because they were protesting. Um, so I don't know. It just doesn't. It just wouldn't be a good place for women right
And I think Afghanistan has changed its flag
now.
because the last resistance was reportedly ca- captured by the Taliban.
Yeah.
So the flag now is a black and white rectangle with lots of Arabic writings in the middle, which
Okay.
is rather ugly, in my opinion. The Saudi flag is better because it's green,
hmm
and the original Afghan flag was much better looking because it had all those colors: red, green, and black.
hmm Okay. Well, what else? Okay. I think that's. I mean, other than that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I saw that was on headline news this morning. I know just the vaccine, 9/11 tomorrow. Um, Trying to mandate that for the vaccine, but a little bit on Afghanistan. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, hey, after we get done with this, because I know we'll probably finish chapters 6 today, easy. Maybe we'll probably start 7, and 7's the last. What book do you have in mind, or do you
Hmm.
want to do some, or do you want to work on anything else?
I haven't actually thought about it that much, so like I think
Okay, so take this week and think of another book that you would like to read
yes, okay.
when we finish this one. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's use some class time for reading. Start where you left off last week and start at, I think it's at a particularly bad spot right up here.
At the particularly bad spot, where a ledge of barely submerged rock jutted out into the river, Hans cast off the rope, and while Thornton pulled the rope boat out into the stream, ran to the bank with the end in his hand so to stop the boat where it had cleared the ledge. This it did, and was flying downstream in the current as swift as a mill race. When Hans checked it with the rope and checked too suddenly, the boat flirted over and snubbed it in, butt into the bank bottom up, while Thornton, flung sheer out of it, was carried downstream towards the worst part of the rapids, a stretch of wild water in which no swimmer could live. Buck had sprung in on this instant, and at the end of 300 yards, amid a mass swirl of water, he overhauled Thornton. When he felt him grasp his tail, Buck headed for the bank, swimming with all his splendid strength. The progress shoreward was slow, and the progress downstream amazingly rapid. From below came the fatal roaring, where the wild current went wider and was rent in shreds and spray by the rocks which thrust through like the teeth of an enormous comb. The suck of the water as it took the beginning of the last steep pitch was frightful, and Thornton knew that a shore was impossible. He scrambled furiously over a rock, bruised across a second, and struck a third with a crushing voice. He crushed his slippery top with both hands, releasing Buck, and above the roar of the churning waters shouted, "Go, Buck, go!" Buck could not hold his own, and swept on downstream, struggling desperately, but unable to win back. When he heard Thornton's command repeated, he partly reared out of water, throwing his head high, as though for a last look, then turned obediently toward the bank. He swam powerfully and was dragged ashore by Pete and Hans, at the very point where swimming ceased to be possible and destruction began. They knew that the time a man could cling to a slippery rock in the face of that driving turn was a matter of minutes, and they ran as fast as they could up the bank to a point far above where Thornton was hanging on, and attached the line with which they had been snubbing the boat to Buck's neck and shoulders, being careful that it should neither strangle him nor impede his swimming. and launched him into the stream. He struck out boldly, but not straight through into the stream. He discovered the mistake too late, when Thornton was abreast of him, and the bear half dozen strokes away while he was being carried helplessly past. Hans promptly snubbed with the rope, and as though Buck were a boat, the boat thus tightening on him in the sweep of the current. He was jerked under the surface, and under the surface he remained till his body struck against the bank, and he was hauled out. He was half drowned, and Hans and Pete threw themselves upon him, pounding the breath into him and the water out of him. He staggered to his feet and fell down. The faint sound of Thornton's voice came to them, and though they could not make out the words of it, they knew he was in his extremity. His master's voice acted on Buck like an electric shock. He sprang to his feet and ran up the bank ahead of the men to the point of his previous departure. Again the rope was attached and he was launched, and again he struck out, but this time straight into the stream. He had miscalculated once, but he would not be guilty of it a second time. Hans paid out the rope, permitting no slack, while Pete kept it clear of coils. Buck held on till he was on the line straight above Thornton. Then he turned, and with the speed of an express train headed down upon it, Thornton saw him coming, and as Buck struck him like a battering ram, and the whole force of the current behind him, he reached up and closed with both arms around the shaggy neck. Hans snapped the rope and around the tree, and Buck and Thornton were jerked under the water, strangling, suffocating, sometimes one uppermost and sometimes the other, dragging over the jagged bottom, smashing against rocks and snags, and veered into the bank. Thornton came to, belly downward and being violently propelled back and forth across the drift log by Hans and Pete. His first glance was for Buck, of whose limp and apparently lifeless body Nick was letting up a howl, while Skeet was licking the wet face and closed eyes. Thornton was himself bruised and battered, and he went carefully over Buck's body, where he had been brought around, finding 3 broken ribs. "That settles it," he announced. "We'll camp right here." And camp they did, till Buck's rib knitted and he was able to travel. That winter, at Dawson, Buck performed another exploit, not so heroic, perhaps, but one that put his name many notches higher on the totem pole of Alaskan fame. His exploit was particularly gratifying to the 3 men, for they stood in need of the outfit which it furnished, and were enabled to make a long-desired trip into the Virgin East, where miners had not yet appeared. It was brought about by a conversation in the Eldorado Station saloon,
Okay.
in which men waxed boastful of their favorite dogs. Buck, because of his record, was the target for these men, and Thornton was driven stoutly to defend him. At the end of half an hour, one man stated that his dog could start a sled with 500 pounds and walk out with it. A second bragged 600 for his dog, and a third 700. "Pooh, pooh," said John Thornton. "Buck could start 1,000 pounds." "And break it out, and walk out with it for 100 yards?" demanded Mathewson, a Bologna king, he of the 700 vault. "And break it out, and walk off with it for 100 yards," John Thornton said coolly. "Well," Mathewson said slowly and deliberately, so that all could hear, "I've got $1,000 that says he can't, and there it is." So saying, he slammed a sack of gold dust of the size of a
Bologna sausage.
bologna. Bologna?
Uh-huh.
Is that how it's spelled?
Yeah. And I know it looks like it would be like Bologna or something, but it's actually pronounced bologna. That is something that in fact we would eat in the US a lot. It's kind of like a compressed type of meat, like a hot dog or something in a way. And it's round and like a circle diameter. And people eat it with cheese and make a sandwich out of it, bologna and cheese sandwich.
Bologna is also a city in Italy.
Yes, it is.
Oh, maybe that's where the name came from.
It could have been. It's awful. that bologna sandwich. The bologna meat. Kids love it, but it's as bad for you as hot dogs. Who
Oh,
knows what's in a hot dog? It's just a bunch of garbage, in my opinion. Yeah.
sight of Bologna sausage down upon the bar. Nobody spoke. Thornton's bluff it was, had been called. He could feel a flush of warm blood creeping up his face. His tongue had tricked him. He did not know whether Buck could start 1,000 pounds. Half a ton! The enormousness of it appalled him. He had great faith in Buck's strength and often saw him capable of starting such a load, but never as now, as he faced the possibility of it. The eyes of a dozen men fixed upon him, silent and waiting. Further, he had no $1,000, nor had Hans or Pete. I have a sled standing outside now, with 50 pound sacks of flour on it. Matthew said went on with brutal directness, so don't let that hinder you. Thornton did not reply. He did not know what to say. He glanced from face to face in the absent way of a man who has lost his power of thought and is seeking somewhere to find the thing that will start it going again. The face of Jim O'Brien, a mastodon
Yeah.
king and old-time comrade, caught his eye. It was a clue. It was acute. It was as acute to him, seeming to rouse him to do what he would never have dreamed of doing. "Can you lend me 1,000?" he asked, almost in a whisper. "Sure," answered O'Brien, thumbing down a plethoric sack by the side of Matthewson's. "Though it's a little faith I'm having, John. That beast can do the trick." The Eldorado emptied as its occupants into the streets to see the test. The tables were deserted, and the dealers and gamekeepers came forth to see the outcome of the wager and to lay odds. Several hundred men, furred and mittened, banged around the sled within easy distance. Matthewson's sled, loaded with 1,000 pounds of flour, had been standing for a couple of hours, and in the intense cold, it was 60 below zero. The runners had frozen fast to the hard-packed snow. Men offered odds of 2 to 1 that Buck could not budge the sled. A quibble arose concerning the phrase "break out." O'Brien contended it was Thornton's privilege to knock the runners loose, leaving Buck to break out from a dead standstill. Matheson insisted that the phrase included breaking the runners from the frozen grip of the snow. A majority of the men who had witnessed the making of the bet decided in his favor, whereat the odds went up to 3 to 1 against Buck. There were no takers, not a man believed it, and now he looked at the itself, the concrete fact, with a regular team of 10 dogs and was stupid. 3 to 1. Thornton's doubt was strong in his face, but his fighting spirit was aroused. The fighting spirit that soars above odds, fails to recognize the impossible, and is deaf to all save the clamor for battle. He called Hans and Pete to him. Their sacks were slim, and with his own the 3 partners could rake together only $200. In the ebb of their fortunes, this sum was their total capital, and they laid it unhesitatingly against Matthewson's 600. Wait, isn't that 1,000? Why is it 600?
Um, I don't know if they're talking about the different. They have breakup where it says 200. Their sack. He said they had three partners that could rake together only $200. So 246, I think.
Okay. The team of 10 dogs were unhitched, and Buck, with his own harness, was put into the sled. He had caught the contagion of the excitement, and he felt that in some way he must do a great thing for John Thornton. Murmurs of admiration at his splendid appearance went up. He was in perfect condition, without an ounce of superfluous flesh, and the 150 pounds that he weighed or so many pounds of grit and
Realty.
virility. His furry coat shone with the sheen of silk. Down the neck and across the shoulders, his mane, in repose as it was, had bristled and seemed to live with every movement. as though excess of vigor made each particular hair alive and active. The great breast and heavy forelegs was no more than in proportion with the rest of the body, where the muscles showed in tight rolls underneath the skin. Men felt these muscles and proclaimed them hard as iron, and the odds went down to 2 to 1. Gad, sir, stuttered a member of the latest dynasty, a king of the Skookum benches. I offer you 800 for him. Sir, before the test, sir. 800 just as he stands. Thornton shook his head and stepped to Buck's side. You must stand up for him, Matthewson protested. Free pay, play, and plenty of room. The crowd fell silent. Only could be heard the voices of gamblers vainly offering 2 to 1. Everyone acknowledged Buck a magnificent animal. For 25-50 pound sacks of flour, bulk too large in their eyes for them to loosen their pouch strings. Thornton knelt down by Buck's side. He took his head in his 2 hands and rested cheek on cheek. He did not playfully shake him, as was his wont, or murmur soft love curses, but he whispered in his ear, "As you love me, Buck, as you love me," was what he whispered. Buck whined with suppressed eagerness. The crowd was watching curiously. The affair was growing mysterious. It seemed like a conjuration. As Thornton got to his feet, Buck seized his mitted hand between his jaws, pressing it in with his teeth and releasing slowly, half reluctantly. It was the answer, in terms not of speech but of love. Thornton stepped well back. "Now, Buck," he said. Buck tightened the traces and slackened them for a matter of several inches. It was the way he had learned. "Gee!" Thornton's voice rang out, sharp in the tense silence. Buck swung to the right, riding the moment in a plunge that took up the slack with a sudden jerk arrested his 150 pounds. The low quivered, and from under the runners aroused a crisp crackling. "Haul!" Thornton commanded. Buck duplicated the maneuver, this time to the left. The crackling turned into snapping. The sled pivoted, and the runners slipping and grating several inches to the side. The sled was broken out. Men were holding their breaths, intensely unconscious of the fact. "Now, mush!" Thornton's command cracked down like a pistol shot. Buck threw himself forward, tightening the traces with a jarring lunge. His whole body was gathered compactly together in a tremendous effort, the muscles writhing and knotting like live things under the silky fur. His great chest was low to the ground, his head forward and down, while his feet were flying like mad, the claws scarring the hard-packed snow in parallel grooves. The sled swayed and trembled, half started forward. One of his feet slipped, and one man growled loud. Then the sled lurched ahead in what appeared to be a rapid succession of jerks, though it never really came to a dead stop again. Half an inch, 2 inches. The jerks perceptibly diminished as the sled gained momentum. He caught them up till it was moving steadily along. Man gasped and began to breathe again, unaware that for a moment they had ceased to breathe. Thornton was running behind, and encouraging Buck with short, cheery words. The distance had been measured off, and as he neared the pile of firewood which marked the end of the 100 yards, a cheer began to grow and grow, which burst into a roar as he passed the firewood and halted at command. Every man was tearing himself loose, even Matthewson. Hats and mittens were flying in the air. Men were shaking hands, it did not matter with whom, and bubbling over in the general incoherent babble. But Thornton fell on his knees behind Buck. Head was against head, and he was shaking him back and forth. Those who hurried up heard him cursing Buck, and he cursed him long and fervently, and soft and slovenly. Gad, sir," spluttered the skookum bench king. "I'll give you 1,000 for him, sir, 1,000. 1,200, sir." Thornton rose to his feet. His eyes were wet. The tears were streaming frankly down his cheeks. "Sir," he said to the skookum bench king. "No, sir, you can go to hell, sir. It's the best I can do for you, sir." Buck seized Thornton's hands in his teeth. Thornton shook him back and forth, as though animated by a common impulse. The onlookers drew back to a respectful distance. Nor were they again indiscreet enough to interrupt.
Okay, good job. So what do you think of that? What do you think of that chapter?
Well, Buck first saved John's life. and then won him at least $1,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What a
Did you think he was going to be able to do it? Did you think Buck was going to be able to
Yes,
do it? Yeah, yeah. Same here. And so it was like, oh,
he's a very good dog.
he is a great dog. Okay. Oh, I was also going to tell you, I put in class. With our COVID thing here, we had a uh, we are now at 85% vaccinated, and they were saying that, especially here in Cuenca, they were saying that we're actually part of a herd immunity now because most
Okay.
people, yeah, because most of the people here in our city have been vaccinated, and so the people that aren't, it's kind of like they're, well, they say that they're kind of protected because of all the people that have been vaccinated. Cases have gone down. I mean, there's no really, our hospitals actually closed off our COVID wards. We no longer need them. So they just reopened them to just regular use again for, just people that get sick for other illnesses or whatever. But we don't have any separate COVID wards anymore in any of the hospitals. So that's a real good thing. And they anticipate all of Ecuador to be fully opened with everything like before, 100% by January. So, um, so good news for Ecuador. But I wanted to share that with you. Hey, any last minute questions though before we go? See?
No.
No? Okay. Well, with that, then, hey, have good luck with everything, with your race. I mean, with the, well, then that's the end of the month, so never mind. But just keep training hard. Train as much as you can, and we'll finish chapter 7 next week, and then just kind of come to
Okay.
next week with another book in mind. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, with that, hey, Z, have a great weekend, and next week at school. Okay, and I'll see you Friday. Bye, Z.